Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome, whether you're brand new or you've been with me since the beginning. I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. You never know what I'm up to and it's fun to see. I mentioned that I was taking a class from Dina Wakley at Runaway Art Studio, and I did a video about Runaway, so if you haven't seen that, you might want to check that out. So when she came to town, Runaway hosted several different classes. I selected the painted face, and it was Saturday afternoon, 3 hours, and it was $75. Dina's classes fill up. So one thing that I will say is if you have a specific designer that you want to take classes from or somebody who inspires you, follow them on Instagram, follow them on YouTube, listen to where they're traveling. They'll tell you lots of times, mention where they're going to be so you can register. These classes are typically full, so there's no point in Runaway working really hard to put them on their website. Does that make sense? They have a class schedule on their website for card classes. The other classes are on here. Coloring and Christmas cards. Oh, all kinds of fun stuff. Altered books, art impressions classes, and art journaling and drawing, different stuff. But the Dina Wakley classes, or somebody who has a big following and is well marketed, those fill up first. So you really need to get to know people. You need to talk to them, be watching the person that you'd like to take classes from and follow their travel schedule. Kind of like if you wanted to go to a concert, right? You see where a band was going to be during the year. Same idea. The other thing is, at the store one day, I heard somebody, this is the second time I've taken a class from Dina, and last year I heard someone pretty much berating the daughter, it's a family-owned store, because they didn't publicize when Dina was coming to town and this person didn't get an option to take the class. Now, I took the class because I was in and out of the store shopping and I saw the flyers. And quite honestly, if you're not a strong supporter of the store and you haven't been in there in months, they're probably not going to be so worried about getting you in the classes. So keep that in mind, right? You need to build the relationships and support your local stores. That's really important. Okay, that's my soapbox for that. So this class is called The Painted Face, and it was really fun because some of the people had been there. They took classes Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and they showed me their other projects, and it was super fun. Dina is great about allowing you to take video, so I do have a lot of video from the class, but I want to be sure that I'm not sharing her class online. I don't think that's appropriate. Don't take her products home and be worried about how you use them. Just go crazy. So that's kind of the thing. You know, she has that stamp that says, don't feed the fears. She means it. Don't overthink it. Just let it go. Just have fun. So I'll just talk to you about what I made. Now, those of you who are amazing, talented artists might be horrified, and that's fine. You can be. I approach my art journaling classes just like I approach my scrapbooking classes, which means my goal is to have fun and listen and learn. I don't care if I finish the project in class. A lot of people left with finished pages and, you know, they had their text and the rest of their background done and all stamped out, and that's great. But my thing is I paid $75 to hear Dina talk and have fun. Okay, I didn't care if I left with tags or any of that. So different approaches, right? I mean, I'm not necessarily the person you want to sit next to in class, but I have a great time. Okay, so let me show you and talk to you about my scary projects and how I feel about them, because some of them are scary. The way she does her classes, I think I mentioned this is the second time I've taken one from her. She has you get together, watch her technique, and then go back and do it. Then she walks around the class, and you do that a couple times. So you're doing at least a couple different things. We probably gathered around her during the class at least 4 times or so, maybe more. So we did a couple of things. These are inspired by a specific artist. I can't remember. It's on Instagram. It's on my page too. But the idea is some of the face has white space and some has color. It doesn't matter what medium you use. That's not the point. This was a very watered down version of her paints. The idea is some white space. So you're striping across it and then leaving it. Looking back at this, would have gone a little different. The other thing is I'm not great at shading and highlighting, right? So Dina's are gorgeous and they turned out amazing. Of course, hers is going to have better shadowing. It's going to have tone under the chin. I got a little here. That's not too bad. but it just gives it more dimension. I gave her crazy colored eyes, not watered down paint, so that was fun. That's a really fun technique. Take a face. You could do it, whatever you have. I don't have face stamps. Faces are so trendy, you guys. If you haven't been doing crafts for a long time, you don't realize that crafts and paper crafts and stamps, everything has a trend, just like fashion. Right now, faces are everywhere. There weren't 10 or 20 years ago, nobody sold stamps like this. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying they're trendy. I don't have any, and that's okay. So all of this stuff I made in class, but you could repeat this white space idea with a stamp like this, where you just stripe across it and then maybe color in some parts. You could do it with a big flower. I was looking around to see if I had a big flower stamp, and I gotta tell you guys, I need more flower stamps. That's something that's kind of a weakness and I try and control when I shop. If you wanted to experiment with it, the idea is take a watered down brush or something, just do a freehand stripe across it, and then do your project from there. But leave white space. That's one thing she's really good at talking about, and you won't see represented very well in my projects because I'm not very good at. And that's okay. So we did that. We also did these where we use scribble sticks quite a bit in class. I have scribble sticks, but I really hadn't used my scribble sticks as much as I felt like I should. Like when I left there, I was super inspired to use my scribble sticks and work on it. Some of this was done with scribble sticks where I got my blue for my shading. I really hadn't done any splattering with scribble sticks, which they're amazing at. Why am I not doing that? On these, the idea was take a dark color and do your dark sections, then take a lighter color and scribble it out and overlap it. And she was really trying to get us to be loose. Sometimes she encouraged the use of your left hand, interesting colors, different techniques. This one I did blend a little bit with water. That wasn't the point. The point was just pretty much to color. This one I'll probably blend some more and use on a page. This one I'm not in love with, but the idea is do your darks and then take something and come in with your lights and go over them. And when she was talking to us about scribble sticks and brushes, she was trying to get us to be really free, which is hard, right? So this is a tiny brush, but you get the idea. So she was lots of times holding her brush like this. She was standing up and holding her brush like this because she's trying to get you to shut down your inner critic and brain and create and see how it turns out. And you should have seen some of the fun things that we made. It was really good. I'll show you my scary one in a minute. This technique was super fun. Again, I wish I would have left a little bit of white space and used colors with more contrast. So I'm gonna try this technique again. I don't know if I'll do it on camera just because of time, we'll see. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this stamp and then I'll talk you through this technique. And actually, I'll just do it because I can probably do it as fast as I can explain it to you. Pretend this tissue is clean and blank. I just couldn't find any more white right now. And you want to take your stamp and you're going to stamp either side of the tissue. It wouldn't matter. But when I put this on my page, I want this side up since I already have some. So I'm going to stamp this side. And I bet we didn't do it with deli paper, but I bet you could do the same concept with deli paper. What I'm doing here is I'm using an archival ink because I'm going to put paint on this. So I want it to be waterproof, and I'll probably have some crinkling in my pattern, and that's fine too. Okay, I'm just trying to get the stamp on there. This one might be a little too detailed for this idea, but at least you'll get the idea and you'll see how this one was created, so then you can apply it to anything in your projects. Maybe it's snowing at your house today, like at my house, and you need a project, and this will be it. So these are Dina's paints, and I did pick up 2 more this weekend. The Tangerine and Sky, I got those, and I already had Lapis. You're not surprised I had that one, are you? Blue. And Peacock, still a bit of blue. And I have this other one. This one's fabulous, you guys. It's called Penny, and it's a copper color, and it's wonderful. I've used it a lot, and I thought I'd try something different. Then all you do is you take your palette knife. Imagine this is your face or your flower or whatever. You take your palette knife, I might not have enough paint, and you smear across it, okay? I'm gonna try and leave some white space, like I said, just because I wanna see how it looks this time. Now, I'm gonna have to be really careful with this orange, right? Okay. Then you can turn it over and you can look at it. That is not the most beautiful thing ever. I just, you know, my colors, a little muddy. And here's the next trick. This is what she was trying to get us to see. I'm not gonna stick this in my art journal because I don't love it. This wet paint is like adhesive. It just is. So you can take this, turn it over, and just stick it on there, and then tear the edges off. I'm going to keep this other part because I really like it. Okay, now look at that, you guys. So we could take this part. I could trim off this muddy part. See, if you're going to use, I mean, think about your color wheel. I knew orange and blue together was a risk. I just wanted to try it. And then if I was making a card, I like to make crazy mixed media things into card backgrounds. Okay? It took us like 2 seconds, but imagine that with a big floral pattern and like pinks and reds and orange. That would be really cool. Or I could do spring colors and use the same exact stamp. Okay, that's the idea. That's how we did this one. And then you put it on the page, give it some background, give it your text, and you're done with your art journal. But just remember, wet paint is glue, so... Oh, okay, the last thing I want to show you as far as projects... Okay, brace yourself, because this sucker is bright, but I'm going to tell you what my logic was and what I was doing. Look at her. She's a trip. What we were doing was we took a giant piece of Dina's tissue papers that had faces. When she taught a class where you had to draw the faces, people complained. So this time she used her stamps and tissue paper. So right here you can see there's a piece of her tissue paper glued to this page with matte medium, then a thin coat of matte medium over the top. The matte medium glues it down, and by putting it over the top, if you mess up, you could take a baby wipe and erase part of it off. I probably didn't do a very good job on that, but I didn't care enough to erase it, so it was fine. When you look at this page, if you've watched my channel enough, you should think, whoa, those are weird colors for Sarah. And that's what I was trying to do, you guys, because wouldn't you expect me to come home with all blue projects? Blue and teal, right? Blue, teal, and purple. You would, I mean, this one, except for the green hair, is much more me. I intentionally tried to grab colors. When you take one of Dina's classes, she has everything. She has all of her paints there, everything's set out. You don't have to bring your own stuff, at least at Runaway. I don't know about other places. I wish I wasn't telling you guys all my secrets, because I'm going to want a slot next time Dina comes to town. So you get to pick any colors. So at my house, I have blue, right? But there's the purple and the green and the red. So I really tried to branch out. And so this is an example of painting. I'm going to grab a brush. Painting one of those faces. And so what I did was, this is mostly painted with a brush like this, hanging on to the far end of it, and just painting, okay? Getting some dark in, getting some dark. If you've watched my videos, you guys know that I don't do any, I mean, I've never made one single video where I painted a face and put darks and lights in. So this was a big new thing for me. There was a lot of new information going on. You can see I covered up the nose completely and had to put it back in, and it's a little narrow. It's a little funny. My highlighting is weird, but I did it, right? I didn't sit there and think about it. I didn't panic. I hadn't painted my hair at all, so I wanted orange. I do have some blue in her skin, but I just wanted to show it to you and be honest and say, I had a blast making this. I like it. I'm going to leave it in here. I'm not going to cut it out and throw it away, which, you know, Dina says you can, or you can paint over. The point is, make stuff that you like and don't overthink it and be worried about it, right? If you're like me and you want to use the same colors all the time, try something different sometimes, because like this one, I kind of love this. I'm going to do some blending on it and maybe put some color over here to balance it out more. It's a little too much white space for me, but I had a great time. I look for classes where it's not a class I could teach, right? I'm not as excited about taking a card class because I can make a ton of cards. If I want, I can sit down and do super, what they call technique-y cards. Somebody said that on a comment or their video and it made me laugh and it stuck with me. Where, you know, you're sitting down and you're using a bunch of embossing or new techniques that have come out. Or I can do scrapbook paper layout ones, whatever. But I really want to try different things. And then I get crazy easy ideas like this. I mean, I gotta look around. This would be great, Noni, are you listening? With like a big poppy and some red and yellow paint. Oh my gosh, it would be delicious. Okay, so think about that. The other thing I got, you guys, which I did not need. The funny thing was, in the morning I was tidying in my room and I found a million little journals. And they're not all art journals. They're not all this level of paper. But then I went and bought this. This I had seen at Creativation, right? Dina showed this or somebody showed it. It is her journal in like a 6x6. And it's the same ridiculously wonderful paper that's in this big Dina journal. Sorry, it got a little light. This journal has the canvas and burlap and then this other thick paper. And I like that other one, but really I just wanted the white paper. Her paper is very different, and I think I've mentioned before, like, if you're going to use Diane Reevely's products, her papers and her products are designed to go together. The Dilutions paints, her paints are very thin, her pages are very smooth, they move around. Dina's paper is, look at this. This is one piece of paper, right? One. It is crazy thick. You can watercolor on it. You can gesso to keep things loose and move them around. It's super absorbent. It's different to work on, and it has tested my abilities and my brain power in thinking, okay, I have to put the water down or it's going to grip that color if I didn't gesso it, which she would tell you to gesso it, but sometimes you don't. That is adorable. I'm going to try to set this aside, be mature, finish a few projects and not start this right away. But one thing that I've seen people do that are art journalers that I really like is they work in different books. Because if you have 3 going at once, you can spend a day art journaling and set this one aside to dry and different stuff. Those are the things that I bought. I think I was very restrained, right? But mostly I was busy. It was a lot of information. And remember that Runaway is super close to me. I did forget a few things, like I had picked them out in my brain, but I hadn't actually pulled them off the shelf and put them in a basket because I was making the video. So I'm hoping to run back down there sometime soon and get them, but it's snowing here, and in Oregon, we're not cut out for snow. The rest of you can get like 8 inches and the world keeps going. We get 1 and there's no school and we're just done. So, and that's not a judgment on my neighbors. I'm not good at snow. I don't like it. Well, I like it for like a day or 2, but I'm over it now. If you do get a chance, take a class from her. Be sure that when you're choosing classes, you're spending your money on things that will make you happier and be joyful. I am super frugal. I mean, you guys wouldn't know it, but all those Tuesday morning videos, lots of times I'm walking out empty-handed. But when it comes to classes, that's where I like to spend my money. And I also like to take classes from people who are super supportive and encouraging. If somebody expects me to be a fine artist, that's not going to be a pleasant class for me, is it? Right? I just don't have that skill level. And I think that Dina's classes are welcoming to people of all skill levels. While I do want things to be a stretch for me, I don't want to be miserable. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is, don't wait until you have a friend to go with you. Schedules don't always line up. People have different interests. I take classes alone all the time. Sometimes afterwards I tell my friends and they think, no, I would never want to do that. Sometimes I tell them and they're super jealous. Sometimes I get really lucky, and like my friend Tiffany went to the calligraphy conference with me, which we were super misfits, but we had a great time. Just do it. Don't wait. Take care. I hope you're having a great week and that you're staying warm wherever you are. Bye-bye.